Hey guys, Christina here, and today I have a look for you at what we read last month, which was June 2021. If it looks like I'm sweating, it's because I am. It's 34 degrees, which is a heat we're not used to here, and it hasn't even reached the high for today, so I'm gonna try and do this quickly. If you're new here, we are a family living on the Canadian prairies. There's 7 of us. Our children are between the ages of 4 and 13, and we like to read, but we also homeschool. So I like to share what we've been reading each month just to give other people ideas and suggestions, and I love to get some as well, so leave your suggestions down below for me as well. So I've got some books here. First of all, because our school year is technically done, we didn't do a read aloud. We did finish reading or listening to our audiobook, It Ain't So Awful Falafel, which I shared a little bit about last month. I'll just say it was a really good book. I learned about the Iranian Revolution, about what it was like for people in the US, and it did have some words in it that maybe might be better for like older kids, but it was a good story. A little slow, but then it got really good in the end, and some funny parts in it. It's worth listening to or reading. Then we moved on to this. This is The Secret World of Ogg by Pierre Berton. Now, I was looking for something to listen to, and I just wasn't finding an audiobook that I really wanted to listen to, I thought we'd enjoy. And so I remembered this book, my teacher reading it to me in probably 4th or 5th grade and enjoying it. So I picked up the CD from the library. It's only like an hour long, the story. It's an interesting story. This is the dramatized version from the CBC audio. So if you like dramatized stories, it's good. It's a short book. Fun little story, adventure, Canadian author. So yeah, I'd recommend a quick listen to that. And that's it. That's all we listened to or read as a family. So moving on to my kids. My 7-year-old, she read so many books, she didn't keep track, but I mean, she just pulled a few off the shelf that she'd been reading. Some of the Little Bears, Freddie and Linda. She's read this one many times. This is a level 3 from the Good and the Beautiful library. She likes this one, so. But I mean, she had piles and piles of books over the months, so a lot of books. Then, moving on to my 10-year-old. He read Snow Treasure. This is by Marie McSwagan, and I shared this earlier in the year because we did this as part of our read aloud. It's a short book, so he liked it, he read it again. Then we have some Dogmen. For Whom the Ball Rolls. Dogman, Brawl of the Wild. Dogman, Grime and Punishment. So you can tell what he's into right now. He also read this one and this one from Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Demigod Files. Demigods and Magicians, Percy and Annabeth Meet the Canes. And then he also read this one here, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. So you can totally tell what he is into and what he is reading, as well as all 3 of my older boys. They read a lot of comic books, a lot of Pokemon, shorter stories, a whole lot of different things. So then moving on to my 12-year-old. A whole bunch of Pokemon books here. So again, they all read these, tons of them. And then he also read this month, Freckles. This is a level 11 with the Good and the Beautiful library. I've read this book before, so I've shared my thoughts on it, but he read it and he said it was pretty good. He enjoyed it. So he read that book. Then my 13-year-old, he also read The Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard by Rick Riordan. And then he read this book here, On the Far Side of the Mountain by Jean Craighead George. I think this was the 2nd book in a series, wasn't it? Yeah. So he read that one. My 4-year-old reads a lot of very small, simple beginner books. So I don't have any to show you here, but he's starting to enjoy those as well. And then for me, I have to write it down here. It's got a long name. It's called Present Over Perfect, Leaving Behind Frantic for a Simpler, More Soulful Way of Living by Shauna Nyquist, is I think how you say it, Nyquist. I felt like this book was kind of one that had been done before. It took a long time to kind of get into anything. There was some good information there, but it wasn't great. Just my thoughts on it. I mean, if you find your life is completely like busy and you're running, it might be a book to read for you if you have time. But it's basically the same principles as other books, that you have to find your priorities. You need to say yes and no according to your priorities to live the life you truly want. So, interesting read, but wasn't fantastic. And then I moved on to this book here, The 4 Winds by Kristen Hanna. I just finished this morning and it was so good. I read it really quickly. It's one of those books that I feel like you don't want to put down. You know, if you're a reader and you stay up way too late at night reading, this is one of those books. There's a few things in there that are kind of more adult themed, and it's kind of like especially right at the very beginning. But the rest of the book was so good. It's about a woman and her children during the Depression, in the Dust Bowl era in Texas, and they trying to figure out how to survive, how to live, and a whole bunch of things happen. It really made me, how do I put this, more in tune with what happened. I mean, I've read stories, and it actually made me, this book, think a lot about a book I shared, I think it was in the fall, on the Weed Patch School that had been set up for the Okies, and just so much more in depth and understanding. And I think reading it when it's really hot outside and we haven't had water or rain in a long time, we have very dry conditions, kind of made that feel like I could feel that a little bit. So I definitely recommend that book. I do like this book a lot. And those are all the books we read. So hopefully that gives you some suggestions. I hope that you are staying cool and enjoying your summer. And I hope this finds you having a good day. Take care.